We get an awful lot of questions on Backyard Farmer about cracks in tree trunks, so I thought for this week's landscape lesson we'd talk a little bit about how they can form and what you can do about them. This is an example of what we see in the landscape, and we sort of use the words sunscald and frost crack in the same sentence, in the same tone of voice for the same trees. So let's talk about sunscald first. This is almost always on the south and west or southwest sides of a thin-barked or a young tree. What happens is that side of the trunk can warm up 20 degrees even, warmer than the north side. In these nice winter days, temperatures drop at night. All of the sap that has risen and that bark shrinks back again and scald occurs. And there's damage oftentimes to the cambium layer. And what happens then is you get this wounding or this opening up. Sunscald occurs on specific species, but as I said, it also can occur on thin bark trees. Frost crack is essentially the same sort of damage in a slightly different way. Typically on the same side of the tree, those abrupt temperature drops, but what happens is scientists believe that the moisture or the water moves out of cells, and then because of the pressure between or the tension between the outer bark and the inner bark, you get this basically explosion, and you can actually hear a frost crack when it is severe enough. Now, frost cracks can close and reopen over time for years and years. You'll see a frost crack as big as my hand, and then, geez, at the end of the summer or during the growing season, it has closed back up, opens back up again. What you also can see is the formation of that callus tissue along the edges. With sunscald, you see the same sort of thing happen with the callus tissue. Either of those can be really, really good places for insects, pests, and diseases to enter. So treatment or management, the ideal thing is to go ahead and wrap those trunks with a light reflecting, heat reflecting material, something that is light so that you don't get that abrupt change in temperature. Take that wrap off so you don't get pests and diseases underneath it in the spring. The other thing that some people do, and this is particularly true in orchards, is they will take a thinned latex-based white paint and just paint the trunk. And that does exactly the same thing. It keeps those temperatures from fluctuating. So one of the best things you can do is make sure you know what you're looking at before you make a decision to do some treatment that really wouldn't work for either a frost crack or a sunscald.